He was asking for a similar contract to DeAndre Hunter, 4 years, $90 million. That's a lot of money for Saddiq Bey. I saw you had tweeted something out, and I believe it was, could this been part of the reason why they traded Saddiq Bey? And I honestly love that thought. Because I think it is. I think Troy Weaver saw the writing on the wall with Saddiq Bey and saw that, dude, he's going to walk because we're not going to give him 20-something million a year to play for us. So let's just try to get something out of it right now while we can. But what are your thoughts on Saddiq Bey asking for a big contract?
Yeah, I think like when the trade happened, like I think a lot of us freaked out. We're like, oh, how could we trade, Saddiq Bey for James Wiseman? Like Saddiq Bey's a better player than Wiseman. And then like, the dust settles a little bit and you kind of hear like what went on, behind closed doors. And I actually got this from the Low Post with Zach Lowe. He had Jonathan Gavoni, who's like a draft expert, and he said that he heard that Saddiq is asking for like big money. And he was like, yeah, it makes sense for Detroit to move on from him if like they don't plan on giving him that type of contract. And, you kind of get something for him now than rather, lose him in restricted free agency. So I think that was a smart move by Troy Weaver. Now, obviously, time will tell if this was a good move or not. It's still very early in the trade process. And I think, both teams got better with this trade. But I think 4 years, 90 million, that's a lot for a guy that's not as consistent as a DeAndre Hunter. You're talking about close to around 20 mil per year with an extension. And the Pistons just gave Bojan that. So if you think about the Pistons gave Bojan 20 mil a year, Saddiq's probably feeling some type of way.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as, the Pistons gave him that extension, I think that was kind of the writing on the wall for him. And why they probably decided to say, we like Saddiq, but we don't like him at a $20 million price point.
Yeah, I mean, do you think any teams actually gives him $20 million a year? I don't see it happening. I mean,
Charlotte?
Yeah, who knows?
There's always the one dumpster fire team that, they're going to overpay him. I think he will get his $20 million. I just don't think it's going to be on a good team.
Ooh, I don't even know. That's a lot. I mean, man, I'm not hating on Saddiq Bey. It's just,
yeah, me either.
Like you said, he's inconsistent. Like his best skill set is shooting the ball. And if he's not hitting shots, what does he bring your team? You have to look at it that way. I could see a team offering him maybe 13 to 15 million, which is still good. And I think for Saddiq Bey still being as inconsistent as that could still be an overpay for him. But when Saddiq Bey is on, yeah, he plays like a 20 million a year guy, but he's just not always on. I don't know if a team gives him 20 million. Charlotte might be the best case, but I think it's going to be one of these situations where he's not going to get to 20 million. He's probably not even going to get 15, and he might be signing for like a 3-year, $10 or $12 million contract. I could see that being a likely scenario for Saddiq Bey.
Yeah, I doubt Atlanta gives him that type of money.
Oh, no.
He probably leaves Atlanta in free agency. He's probably going to one of the bottom feeders in the NBA, whether that's San Antonio, which I think would be a match made in heaven, Houston, which is a dumpster fire, Charlotte, I think would be in the mix for it. You're looking at teams that are basically they're in the lottery each and every year. I think the talent's there. It's just the inconsistency. And I think when you're giving out contracts, you're not just throwing 20 million to a guy that's not you can't give me 28 one night and to the next. It's just, you're not we're not in the same age of, the Timothy Mozgov contracts when the Lakers gave him the bag. We're not to that point, or when Joakim Noah got $100 million from the Knicks. Those are some of the all-time worst contracts in the NBA. I'm not putting Saddiq Bey in the same tier as a player, but that's probably what it would be. Overpaying for a guy that doesn't, produce at the level that you want to produce. Bojan, it seems like every other night he's got 25 or 30. Lately he's been struggling a lot, and apparently he got injured, so he's not playing tomorrow either. So
let me ask
I don't know. I wish him well though, man. I hope he gets the money that he's asking for.
So could you see, I think Saddiq Bey signs, tell me if I'm wrong, New York or Miami this summer. I can see one of those two teams offering him a deal to come play. And I kind of like both fits. He's going back with some Villanova guys. in Brunson and Josh Hart. He doesn't have to be the man. He'll be playing off of, 3 lefties that are going to give him a lot of open looks. But then Miami, I don't know. It just seems like a natural fit because he's such a hard worker and it just seems like he would be perfect for their culture and their organization. So I would say if he's smart, I would say he'd go with one of those 2 teams.
Yeah, I feel like if it's Miami, it's going to be a really low contract because their books are just, they don't really have a whole lot of cap space to play with. New York, I could understand, obviously, having that Villanova connection, going back closer to home. But I don't know. I could see him going to a team like the Pelicans. I could see him going to a team like the Blazers. I could see him going to a team, um, like the Pacers. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, man, if, he goes to a team that has, playoff aspirations and, he's one of those guys that's like a fourth option and is going to give you like 10 to 15 points a game.